What's up, guys? I'm Nathan, and I got next to me the
one and only
Peter Warnecke.
That's me right here.
It's one of our team members who topped at the YCS Prague with
Cosmos.
Yeah, and what place did you take? Yeah.
No, yeah. So first of all, greetings from me as well. I managed to get a top 16 ranking at YCS Prague. Was very happy to take my first top spot at a YCS with this deck that I put together the night before.
Yeah, with Cosmos. You said the night before. What was your other deck options you wanted to play?
Well, originally I wanted to play a favorite deck of mine, Yang Zing's, but that would have been more of a fun approach to the entire tournament. And while testing the night before, I came to the conclusion that I could just not compete with any of the meta decks. So I scrapped that idea and just took my Cosmo deck.
Yeah, for a wisely choice.
Wise choice. Very wise.
Very wise. What more? Okay. Yeah, we got here a deck profile of your top deck, of your some kind of like winner deck.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And first of all, Cosmo Dark Eclipse. This is a but it's a rare card seen in the Cosmo deck builds.
So rare, you could even call it secret rare.
No. Why did you put it in your deck?
I ran the single Dark Eclipse because it's an additional large ship, and you don't have that many 3K beat sticks, so it's very useful in that regard. Its self replacing effect is not as powerful. However, against other Cosmo decks and a lot of rogue matchups, its trap negation effect can be extremely powerful. I didn't get to use its effect even once, at least the one that negates traps, but it's definitely a great card to have. You can summon it during the end phase using Call of the Haunted, and then that is basically it for any deck that thinks it can run traps, because you can't.
Yeah, it's a viable choice, and you would keep it.
Yes, I would keep it in the deck. It performed
very well.
Performed
decent. Well, yeah. Well, the next card is Common 3 Dark Destroyer.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Not much to say about that.
Yeah.
So powerful.
Best
so
card.
Much damage.
Yeah. The next card is are only 2 Cosmo Forerunner. What?
Yeah, about the Forerunners. I used to love playing 3 of them, but then I had to realize, watching people who kept innovating the deck, that
they kind of
triple Forerunners just not useful nowadays. You don't need don't need more than one, as it doesn't do anything when you summon it, and it's
only
additional
there for
effects
for the 2/8 beat stick, and
that's right. It's powerful. It has a high level, can summon high level monsters from the deck, but it actually has no effect that triggers on its own summon, so it's not nearly as useful as a Dark Destroyer or a Slip Rider. So you just summon it in between when you have nothing else to summon, when you don't need to pop any cards, and that's rarely the case. So a lot of people only ran one, at least the ones I knew of. Mostly ran one Forerunner, but I thought, well, Forerunner, powerful card, and I especially didn't want to run out of ships as fast, as quickly as my opponent, because especially in the mirror match, you often keep crashing your ships into each other, and then the one who has more ships left in the deck usually comes out on top. And I was really afraid of blowing through my resources too quickly.
Yeah, also the gain 1000 life points effect is
pretty
pretty nice
for any
Cosmo Town or
timeout
plays.
scenarios.
Yeah. Next up, we got Cosmo Dogfighter. Very rarely seen.
The doggy guy.
Yeah, the Dogfighter.
Dogfighter.
Very rarely seen in most common Cosmo deck builds. Why did you put him in your deck?
Well, it's pretty simple.
What was your first thought?
When the card was released, I really liked it as it could put some powerful tokens on the field, but I didn't think it would be considered for YCS level play. However, a friend of mine, he actually made it to the finals. The one who took second place also ran one Dogfighter, and I asked him about it, and he said, actually I didn't get to ask him directly. I asked other people, and they only could confirm that he ran one. So I did something I rarely do, and I basically net decked this one card and put it back into my deck I had taken out before. And as I absolutely didn't know how to properly use it, I didn't summon this card even once. I never got to the point where I would have thought, now is the time for a Dogfighter, as there's nothing better to summon.
But it seems, pretty good. Dogfighter, pretty decent. It can spawn you powerful tokens with 2/4 defense, and you can do it like you can emergency teleport into your tin can, and if you got the Dogfighter in your hand, you can then summon the Dogfighter to spawn the tokens on your opponent's turn.
Absolutely, yes.
To stop the OTK, the possible OTK.
Yes, that's how you're supposed to use it. I didn't know. So I never used it the way it was supposed to be used, which is early on in the duel, especially first turn, you reveal it with Timken along with a Slip Rider and a Dark Destroyer, as it is the better choice to possibly add to your hand than a Forerunner. So that's where Dogfighter is supposed to come in. And I didn't reveal Dogfighter. I used Forerunner or something else, Eclipse most of the time. And then Dogfighter was just not useful for me. But it worked out.
Yeah, but it's there.
I would actually, I don't think it's worth the spot in the deck. I would rather use something else.
Like?
Well, I'd rather play a third Forerunner than one Dogfighter. Or maybe just basically any other card.
Yeah. Then the next cards are 3 Slip Rider, pretty normal for the nowadays Pendulum matchup.
That's pretty self-explanatory. You get to pop traps during the end phase. Pendulum scales, so important to kill that one monkey board. I faced a lot of Pendulum decks, more than any other deck. I faced 5 in a row. And most of my opponents played Draco Pals. So Slip Rider was extremely useful, and along with Dark Destroyer, the most important ship of the deck. We'll definitely always play 3.
Yeah.
Didn't get to build a Cyber Dragon Infinity, though.
No?
Not even once. I actually didn't Xyz summon once in the entire tournament.
Okay, the next 2 cards are 2 Cosmo Wicked Witch.
Yes, so I ran 2 Wicked Witch and no Good Witch. I wanted to play 2 level 4 pilots, and I went with the Wicked Witch, as it is something that can stop OTKs and can generate free advantage or force opponent's cards by protecting itself. Has also really nice stats, and I think her effects are more useful than the Good Witch is right now, as Good Witch was mostly great against the Pepe turn 1 fields, where they spammed the board with monsters that could pressure you with their powerful control effects, but you don't really have that anymore. At maximum, there's one Rafflesia, so you don't really need a Good Witch anymore. I played the double Wicked Witch, and it worked out pretty well.
Okay, but Good Witch is like a Book of Moon for paying 500.
Of course, Good Witch is a great card, and I like the card, but I didn't expect to need that Book of Moon effect.
Did you find a strange situation where you wanted the Good Witch so bad that you...
Absolutely not, no. I didn't think of Good Witch at any given time.
Best choice in this situation. Okay. Yeah. Then rather rare one Cosmo farmer for Money Girl, the
former Money Girl, not anymore. Very sadly.
Yeah, some kind former kill card of this deck.
Yes, I love this card, and I absolutely wanted to play 3 just because this is my favorite card in the deck and is what got me into playing Cosmos. However, my friends who were more up to date with the recent builds of the deck all played one Farm Girl after previously cutting the card to 2 copies, now only 1. And I could kind of see why, because when you need her, you can just summon her from the deck most of the time. And your go-to pilot is the Timken, so you really don't need a Farm Girl, and she doesn't do anything on her own unless the field is already cleared. So 1 is really enough. And after playing the tournament, I agree. 1 Farm Girl is the way to go, I believe.
You would not change this to like 2 Farm Girls from the better like OTK potential if you're wiped up the enemy board with some kind like mass removal with Warnecke,
with more mass removal main decked, I absolutely think multiple Farm Girls are better, but as this version right here doesn't main deck multiple mass removal cards, 1 Farm Girl is the right choice.
Yeah, then say your thoughts on Cosmo Strawman. Why only 1? Because I saw some kind would like to run 2, 3 is over the top.
Yes,
3 is way too much.
3 were never necessary. I used to run 2, but that was back when Timken was not a thing yet. So I was always running 2, and my friend who made it to the finals also ran 2, but I thought, it's basically like Farm Girl. When you need this card, you can get to it, and that is why you need only 1, according to me.
Okay, yeah. Next card on the list, we have 3 times the Cosmo Tin Can, the cards, the overwhelming card.
This is a card I'm especially known for, but not because I was using it so well. It's because I was running only 1 when it came out, and people were mocking me for only running 1 R2D2.
Because it's savage. You can't.
Of course. Totally
you can't get your Cosmo Tin Can is your best friend. It's like your Elder Canhawk.
Yeah, now I know that too.
In Ritual Beast, it's your Warnecke in Nicholas.
Well, I wouldn't go so far, but
it's your best friend in this deck.
My best friend is the Dark Destroyer.
Yeah, but it can lead to the Dark Destroyer, or even can set up your field for your Oasis or
absolutely
Call of the Haunted to Bring up the good ones, the fine ones.
That is why you run the Triplicate. I didn't like this card when it came out because it changed the deck up so much. It didn't really work with banished monsters and so on, but now, of course, I realized why it's so good. I had people explain it to me. And yeah, you need this card as early as possible in the duel. You have to open up with this card, and then you're good to go. So you random maximum copies allowed. And yeah, if you can summon it first turn,
you will summon it.
That's fine. Then everything is going according to plan.
Yes, something like you have to summon it. If you begin and you see it in your hand, you have to summon it.
Absolutely, that's the go-to play.
It's like, next card is your only master removal card in this deck. Yeah,
the one dark hole.
Why?
Coincides directly with the tin can. Why no Raigeki?
Yeah.
That's the question I asked when my friend played dark hole over Raigeki. He said, this is when you have a hand that doesn't open with tin can, you can always summon a ship and then blow it up with dark hole to get to your tin can. And that is actually something I did during the tournament. And it was the right decision to play one dark hole over Raigeki and side the Raigeki instead.
Yeah, it's also a nice tech card. I would also play it over Raigeki in the main deck. If I have to, because you can clear up the whole board and some kind wipe the enemy field and your own ship to summon one pilot Farm Girl and push for the maximum damage.
Classic play.
The next card.
Next up we have double MSTs. These double MSTs are something I consider to be very important, as I expected a lot of mirror matches. I got only one, but, MST, perfect card. This will get rid of your opponent's Call of the Haunted, which can be big, and you can also use it against all other matchups, even against Mermail. They run basically no traps, but the ones they do run, you can stop with MST. And of course, against Monarchs, you get to blow up their continuous spells. And against all Pendulum decks, well, obviously, you can blow up the scales.
Yeah, why Mystical Space Typhoon over Twin Twister? Because nowadays is Twin Twister more popular.
Yeah, Twin Twisters is also a great card, but I didn't want to put it in the main deck, as I usually wouldn't have something I wanted to discard. And so I went with the single card answer to single problem cards that I can immediately use without having to worry about anything else.
Yeah, the next cards, Triple Reasoning. It's very powerful. I thought it would only be powerful in some kind Infernoid-ish decks, but...
Well, that changed. I didn't like the card at first, but now I see it's basically the best card in the deck. It's the only one that you want to have in your hand at all times. There's never a bad time to activate Reasoning. It gets you a free summon, and that is something that is so precious in this deck. When you normal summon, that's one big part of your play. That gets stopped. You're lucky if you can do anything else. And other than that, you basically only have emergency teleport for anything like this, and you're relying on Call of the Haunted otherwise. So Reasoning as a free summon is just amazing. And even if they call the number right and the monster goes to the graveyard, well, that's set up for you as well.
Yeah, your follow-up plays with Call of the Haunted and Oasis of the Dragons. The next card, pretty staple, I think. 3 emergency teleport. Very
Yeah.
old card, but gold.
Absolutely. Soon to be gold rare as well. This card, well, yeah.
Well, yeah.
You just activate this thing and get to your place. Pretty unfair.
Yeah, pretty good. For the first turn, you want to summon Cosmo Timken to resolve.
Get the Timken first.
The effect and set up your place. Then the drawback is you must banish the Timken, but you can also banish it for
its own effect.
Yeah, for its own effect for a ship. For a big ship.
Yeah, so that's never an issue. And later you get Farm Girl or Strawman according to what the field is looking like.
Yeah.
And of course we run triple Cosmo Town. This card is really powerful. You can have enough of those, but just run 3 of these. No terraforming. It's not as necessary anymore since you now rely on Timken.
I really like Cosmo Town because it does have a mulligan effect where you can put cards in your deck, put your bricks in your deck as a potential bricks, and draw cards like precious trap cards you want to see, or like tin can, like pretty neat cards that you can pick up with Cosmo Town.
Yep. So that's pretty stable. You can blow it up by your own effects to get some emergency searches. Just best spell card for the Cosmo theme. Trap cards, I run the one Solemn Warning because it's basically the most powerful disruption trap card. Also, I run 1 Solemn Strike. People run 1, 2, 3. I decided to go with 1 Solemn Strike as I didn't really have any other spots in the deck. And I didn't want to pay too many life points as I didn't want to be in a situation where I couldn't resolve the town because of having too few life points. And I got lucky and pretty much opened with this 1 Solemn Strike pretty often. So you could definitely consider running more than 1 of these.
Yeah, your following card is rather interesting because Ultimate Providence,
Card.
a pretty special card.
Indeed.
Yeah, why? What did you
get it, I guess. This card is one of the cards I put in at the very last minute when I put the deck together the night before the tournament. And, well, it was getting really late and I can't really say what was going through my mind at that time, except that I wanted to have a card that can be useful against any matchup. And since I'm running a lot of monsters, spells, and traps, I thought I should be able to, when I draw Ultimate Providence, consider what I want to negate the most against this specific matchup, and then keep one of those cards in hand to negate the next threat. However, well, I didn't activate Ultimate Providence at all during the entire tournament. It got MST'd once, so it served its purpose. Other than that, when I drew it, it was pretty much a dead card. You don't have something to discard. Absolutely not. So, do not play this card.
Yeah, in the theory, Ultimate Providence seems to be a good card because it's like a Divine Wrath for any card.
Pretty much, yes.
But, yeah, it's very special.
Yeah.
You have to it have to synergize with your deck that you
That's
could
correct.
play this card. Yeah.
Don't play this, rather play something that works on its own.
Yeah. Next on the list are 3 Call of the Haunted.
Yeah, the best recursion card. It is so powerful in this deck because it advances your own game state while disrupting the opponent's plays. So it puts a powerful monster on your field and at the same time disrupts what the opponent is trying to do, which is an insanely powerful play. And even if the opponent gets rid of one of the cards, it will activate its floating effect. So triple call is absolutely necessary.
And yeah, then Oasis of the Dragon Soul. It's a rather defense option of Call of the Haunted.
I don't really consider this a defensive card at all. It's just additional Call of the Haunted. Others play even 3 Oasis as well, but I thought I didn't need more than 5 Call of the Haunted in the deck. And the number felt really good. I could think you might want to play triple Oasis as well, but I think 5 is a good number.
It's like your own choice to have 5 Reborn, Resurrect cards. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see anything work from only 3 Call of the Haunted to 3 Call and 3 Oasis. It's basically preference.
Yeah. And the last card on the main deck, Triple Cosmojo. Yeah.
Very good choice.
Yeah. Cosmojo, it doesn't target. It destroys your own.
This card is absolutely amazing. I didn't think you would ever run more than 2 in the main deck, but playing 3 was the best idea. And I agree with anyone who would want to play triple Cosmojo. This card gets you out of any situation. The opponent tries something completely tricky, just disrupt them, advance your game state, put the ships into the banished zone, make them summon something else, activate Cosmojo during the end phase, blow up some more cards. This is the best card and it dominates the mirror match.
Yeah, it was before the release of Cosmojo, Offering of the Doom were seen at play. Well, it was like Cosmojo, but only to bring your opponent rather quickly down.
Yeah, I've seen people play Offerings to the Doomed, and I don't consider that a good card. I think Offerings to the Doom is not even close to Cosmojo, not at all. My side deck is next.
Yeah,
was pretty random.
Double Cyber Dragon.
Yeah, I played the 2 Cyber Dragons for the mirror match. I ran those over any other Cyber Dragon cards, as this is the best one in my opinion. It gets special summoned. It's level 5 for you to go into infinity if you can. And, has the best stats and don't really, need or can really make use of the effects of Cyber Dragon 3 or, the core.
Yeah, next up, 1 Farm Girl in the side deck, and 1 Strawman.
An additional Farm Girl and an additional Strawman. When I threw the deck together during the night, I thought it would be absolutely genius to side into the old Cosmo, which played more than 1 Farm Girl. And this actually was not that bad of an idea. I sided these 2 in, along with the single copy of Raigeki and Dark Hole in the side deck to, lessen the effect that the opponent's side deck cards would have, because many people side decked System Down, and the more they used their side deck to combat this new graveyard-reliant version of Cosmos that is based on Timken, the more useful Raigeki, Dark Hole, Farm Girl, and Strawman would be. And it was actually working out really well for me. Opponents were siding in System Down, and I actually won because I sided the second Strawman in. My opponent activated System Down after getting rid of all my other cards, and one of the Strawmans was already banished. And when I top decked Emergency Teleport, I was able to get the second Strawman and come back into the game to win. So I really think this was actually a good choice. Yes.
Yeah. You mentioned also Raigeki and one Raigeki and the additional Dark Hole in your.
Very essential cards. These are so powerful, but very matchup reliant. I always sided these in against Dracopals because they still just summon a board of monsters that are really powerful and hard to kill just through summoning your own monsters. So the best thing you can do is simply blow them all away with one of these spell cards and then attack directly. So you always need to include all these mass removal cards in your main and side deck combined.
Yeah, the next cards are Double Twin Twister. Without any Mystical Space Typhoon. Why now?
No additional MSTs because I thought when I side in more Spell Trap Destruction, I would need something more, more
efficient?
real, more efficient and more effective. So I went with the Twin Twisters. That these cards are great against any rogue decks. And of course, when you expect any floodgates from the opponent, then you use the Twin Twisters to get rid of all of the back row at once. Can also pop Pendulum Scales very quickly. And Twin Twisters was a great card for me. It won me more than one duel. I once just got rid of the opponent's back row, which they searched via Ariadne, and then I could just blow the field away with Dark Hole and attack directly. Or I once blew up my own Cosmo Town to get an additional search while also getting rid of the opponent's back row, which enabled me to do an OTK. So this card is really amazing. You can discard ships if you need setup for one of your resurrection cards. I might even consider playing triple Twin Twisters in the future.
In the side deck, of course.
Of course, yeah. I wouldn't main deck Twin Twister. I think MST is the better choice for the main deck.
You said it also in the main deck part. Now, 3 exotic cards. 3 Forbidden Graveyards. It's a rather unlikely card you...
Absolutely. I found this card in my pile of side deck cards. And I thought this is actually a great card against Cosmos. When you kill their ships by using Raigeki, for example, and they trigger in the graveyard, you just chain Forbidden Graveyard, negate those effects. Especially great when they have multiple ships on board. Also amazing against mermaids who cannot use any of their effects. Great against any decks that abuse Dante. And also against monarchs that cannot use their banish effects from the graveyard. However...
It's like Abyss Dweller.
Right. Dweller is really hard to come by in Cosmos. So...
But it's more reliant than...
I thought Forbidden Graveyard, absolutely genius card. But that wasn't it. It wasn't the case at all. When I faced the other Cosmo deck, I sided this card in and realized, damn, if I happen to draw Forbidden Graveyard, I'm in trouble because that card is not useful. It's a -2 and you don't have the discards. I already mentioned this with Ultimate Providence. You just don't have something to discard. Every card needs to do something on its own. And for this to be useful against Cosmos, they would have to have on the field more than one ship at the same time, and that just doesn't happen. So
Never play it again.
Absolutely not. No, it was not a good idea.
Other choices instead of Forbidden Graveyard would be
System Down is a better card to get rid of Cosmo ships, because it's just one card that gets rid of all of them with no questions asked. And that is way better than trying to somehow negate the effects after you've already triggered them. I'd rather have something else. Do not play Forbidden Graveyard.
never.
Not at this time, anyway.
3 common cards, Master of Restrict, one-liner monsters cannot be tributed, but so effective against decks like Monarchs and Magispectre.
Yeah, mostly Monarchs, of course. Mostly Monarchs, Magispectres were not something I expected at the tournament, and I didn't see any. And I didn't play against Monarchs until the top 16 match, which I sadly lost. However, Mask of Restrict 1v1 duel right there. Mask of Restrict is simply the most powerful floodgate to use against Monarchs, and since Monarchs are one of the most played decks, always side triple Mask of Restrict if you can.
Yeah, because it's so budget, it's so beginner friendly, it's so,
Absolutely, so Mask of Restrict, great card. I think playing 3 in the side deck is the right choice.
Yeah, and another Ultimate Providence.
There's another one in here. I thought, well, if the main deck one is very useful, then I might side in the second copy. Well, what happened is I always sided out the main deck copy and never sided in the second Ultimate Providence.
Nice.
Don't play this Secret Rare card.
You had effectively 4 side deck cards that you have never used.
That's right.
In any circumstances.
Yes. There could have been way better cards.
Yeah. Not the best choice, but okay. Now to the extra. 3 Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. It's rather common, because if you play Cyber Dragon, you have to play Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon in your side deck.
I played the Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, of course, for the Cyber Dragon usefulness. I ran 3 of those, as you don't really need the space in your extra deck anyway. And, well, perhaps this can be a surprise to your opponent. I never used more than 1. This is the only extra deck monster I ever summoned in the mirror match. I summoned Cyber Dragon and fused with his ship to make 1 Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. That's it. I don't think you need 3. 2 would have been absolutely fine.
Yeah, you said this is the only extra deck monster you have summoned. It says that the other extra deck monster you have never summoned, and they're only there for the options.
Yeah. Those are basically 2 Novas with 2 Infinities.
Yeah.
When you can summon an Infinity, it's really powerful, especially now that less main deck outs are being played.
Against Infinity.
Yeah. So, other than that, rank 5, so just a Volcasaurus, just in case when you need to do some damage, or a Constellar Pleiades. You never know when you need to get rid of some special cards that just can't be destroyed or something. Also works in tandem with Gaia Dragon the Thunder Charger, which I play. Well, just for those cases where you need the damage. I also ran Dracossack and number 11, Big Eye, just in case, because they're so powerful and you could technically summon them with double Forerunner.
Yeah, then 2 rank 4 Xyz, the basics.
Yeah, the best ones, I think, are Castel
and Abyss Dweller.
Yeah, Castel gets rid of anything, and Dweller, very powerful if you can manage to get it out versus any absolutely graveyard reliant decks. And
the last card, number
23.
23, Lancelot. It's a rather popular choice nowadays because...
Yeah, it just came out and a lot of people played this card. I've seen it summoned against me, and well, people didn't know what the card really does, so my opponent activated something and had to negate his own card, and things like those happened. You pretty much only summon Lancelot in this deck when you need to go for game safely. You know, you'd never really overlay 2 Dark Destroyers anyway, unless you know attacking directly for 2k damage and having 1 negate is safely your win.
Yeah, that's it with the deck list. What were your matchups in the YCS Prague?
I played against a lot of Dracopals, way more than I expected.
Like 5 of them, you said?
Yeah, 5 in a row, and all in all was, I believe, 8.
From approximately you played 10?
11 or no, 12 matches. It was.
Okay, 8.
1 Monarchs,
9.
and 1 Cosmo, and 1 Magician variant. Yeah. So, as I faced so many Dracopals, I was pretty much fine with the side deck cards I had. I don't know what would have happened against Phantom Knights or Mermaids, because I absolutely didn't even get to test against those decks.
Yeah, and now what do you think about Cosmo after the YCS Prague?
I think this is absolutely the best choice for at least that YCS. It's probably the best deck right now, as it is just so powerful. You know, all your monsters are very strong stat-wise, and they are all floating, and their disruption effects on summon are just icing on the cake. They pretty much can do anything, and just in 1 card. The Dark Destroyer is insane. Cosmo Town is insane. And the way Call of the Haunted works in this deck is just, it's not even fair. So, I think this is a really amazing deck.
Yeah, we heard you lost your last game against Monarchs. What is the matchup against Monarchs? Is it rather hard or?
Well, when they go first and get out an Erebus, it really
Sucks.
hurts. Yeah. It hurts to lose 1 card in your hand, and also the card that is most annoying is, of course, Monarch's Stormforth, as they can just tribute your ships and you don't get to trigger their effects. The more often they can do that, the more likely you are to lose.
Yeah, and other hard matchups?
Overall, I think there is not really any hard matchup for this deck. There's no deck that can just blow through Cosmo just like that.
And what's with the Uprising Phantom Knights? You see some potential in Phantom Knights to compete against Cosmo in some way without the F0, of course, because F0 in rank 3 decks is rather popular because
I think Phantom Knights are a powerful deck, and their constant recursion can be troublesome for Cosmos, as you can never really attack directly, and their monsters would just keep coming back and blow up your back row. So I think you will probably want to have cards in your side deck that can work against Phantom Knights.
It really help you, not like Forbidden Graveyard.
Forbidden Graveyard would actually be probably pretty good against that deck, but in Cosmos you're probably better off running something that does not require to discard a card from your hand. So just find something else. I'm sure there are better options. Sadly, you can't really run Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, of course.
Because of the Dark Destroyer and the Dark Eclipser. Yeah, thank you.
Of course.
Something you want to say?
I'm pretty much done right now. Thank you, and leave your comments. If you have any further questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Yeah. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to stay on track from new content for us. And yeah, thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Check, 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 check.
Amila.